Update now on a story that has got almost everyone talking. The video of a dead man raised by Pastor Alf Lukau from Alleluia Ministries church has been at the receiving end of widespread criticism. That is, of course, if you believe that the man was dead to start with. The CRL Rights Commission and other religious organizations have weighed in, saying Christianity is in a state of crisis. ENCA's Slindelo Masikane has been following the much talked about story and joins us live now from our newsroom. So, Slindelo, we are hearing this afternoon for the first time since this whole controversy around this man apparently, allegedly being raised from the dead from the church itself, and it seems the message is ye of little faith.
Certainly, we finally have a response from Alleluia Ministries. They have released a statement at around 4 o'clock this afternoon, in fact, and it's a 6-page statement. In fact, I have it here with me, and I've had a bit of time to just peruse through it. And basically, if I just start by saying that they claim that at no stage did the pastor claim that he resurrected the person shown in the video, identified as Elliot. We know, of course, now that his name is Brighton Moyo, and he's a 29-year-old Zimbabwean national. The church also goes on to say that they had no interactions with the funeral parlor. They also say they had no interactions with the family prior to the church service. And they say that those that are their detractors and who are basically saying that this was an act, this was fake, they're saying that at no point did this particular incident by the pastor be labeled as a resurrection. They're saying that in the video, the pastor does say that you can see the man is breathing. You could see that he was breathing from inside the coffin, and all he did was merely pray for him. So basically, the church also coming out to say that they will be taking some kind of legal action against those that are basically, calling them fakes or, putting their particular name and their church into disrepute. What kind of action that's going to be remains to be seen. We have requested an interview with them because we're definitely seeking a lot of clarity around this statement, because it also goes on to say that those that are their detractors or those that are calling them charlatans, they're saying that, they are inviting them to interrogate the video but with the facts in front of them. They're saying that, the family is the one that brought this particular man. They're also distancing themselves from the fact that there have been rumors alleging that this particular man in the coffin is a church member and in fact has been doing this on a regular basis for the church. In fact, we heard from some of the man's colleagues at his workplace that there was one stunt he pulled for the church a while ago where he was pretending to be in a wheelchair and was prayed over and, of course, miraculously began walking. So finally, we've heard from the church and basically saying that what's been peddled in the media is false and that people need to interrogate this video with the facts before them, but not saying that, not denying that there has been any, not admitting that there's been anything wrong that's happened, but not essentially denying the resurrection. They're just saying that the pastor never claimed it was a resurrection.
Yeah, so we've also been hearing, though, Slindelo, interestingly, from the Brighton Moyo's employer. What a guy.
What a man. The man is looking for his employee. In fact, he's almost desperate to have him back. Really describing Brighton as somebody who was a hard worker, quite smart, who he began working at that timber company around June 2018. Also saying that they were also quite shocked to see Elliot in that video. In fact, let's just take a listen to what he had to say.
He's a very nice guy, and he came here about 6 months ago to learn the woodworking industry. And he was very willing and very able, but he was always very smartly dressed. And he, at the Christmas party at the end of the year, he was one of the smartest. He learned very quickly, and we made him an assistant machinist, where he was planing timber. He did cut the end of, just nicked the end of his finger, and it was like the end of the world. It took his confidence away for quite a long time. But he worked well, and he was a nice guy, and it was an absolute shock to see him in the video and to recognize him with his mouth wide open.
Tell me about that moment. Exactly where were you when you saw the video, and what went through your mind when you saw him and recognized him?
Well, we suspended him a couple of weeks ago for missing a Monday and coming late on a Tuesday. And he was suspended with full pay, but he never came back. And we wondered what happened to him. And one of these friends brought a video into the office and told us that Brighton had died. And I love my employees. We've got 50 guys here. And to know that one of them had died, I was shocked. And when I went to look at the video, and I saw him lying in the coffin, and I saw his mouth moving, I said, he's not dead. And then we saw him breathing, and then we saw him come to life, and those eyes looking all around, it was crazy. So it was a big joke.
Yeah. Tell me, I understand, of course, he was quite an avid believer in this pastor, in the church, very religious. He was a member, according to what you know.
He was a member, and they all talk about believing in the things and all that, but I believe his sister and his aunt and another family member are in the church. And he, from what I hear from my staff, he was trying to get people to come and do the act with him. So I believe he has done a stunt in the wheelchair where he got up and he walked away. And he tried to, solicit some of the people that work for me to come and do the shows with him. So it's an ongoing thing.
So it seems that it was almost a part-time job, this kind of work for him.
I think so. And I think that's why he was here, to get the guys to go with him to go and act up on the thing.
All right. So you're saying you haven't seen Brighton since around the 4th of February.
Yeah.
Would you like to have him back?
I wouldn't mind. Yeah. It'll be a new guy. It won't be the old guy.
Thank you so much. All right. Just also lastly, did he give you any problems? Did he seem like someone who's strange? I mean, what kind of a personality did he have?
He had a very egotistical personality. So if you made a mistake and you screamed at him, he would throw a lip for about, a couple of hours, and it would be difficult to get him to understand that the only way you learn is by making mistakes. So I think this mistake of him in the coffin, I hope he learns a lot, that God won't be happy with him. Yeah.
And lastly, how have your efforts been to try and track him down? What attempts have you made? Have you been able to contact his family, or have you maybe been to his house?
No, I haven't been to his house. I haven't been there, but we have phoned him on a number of occasions, and we have tried to find out where he is, so that to find out whether he's coming back or not, and to see whether we can replace him. And we're going to have a disciplinary without him here, because that's the normal way of doing it. But it's a pity. He was a good egg.
Yeah. Any last words for Brighton? Maybe just a plea to maybe come back to work?
Yeah, come back to work, Brighton. You're a good guy.
All right, thank you so much for that, Slindelo. And at least it seems that you've managed to negotiate for Brighton to be able to go back to work despite the disciplinary challenges that did seem to be creeping up. Thank you so much. ENCA's Slindelo Masikane working that story there for us.